Content warning: sexual abuse. The case of Tina and the Baxter family. Assessment of the clients. Tina, age 17, started therapy at the request of her parents, Mike and Deb Baxter, following a serious suicide attempt. Mike and Deb have been married for over 25 years and sought treatment for Tina, who was attending college and living at home. The parents were seen for the initial session as they wanted to ensure that the therapist was aware of Tina's history and to talk about the trauma around Tina's suicide attempt. Both Mike and Deb were terrified that they had almost lost their daughter to a drug overdose. Tina refused to discuss the event and wanted her parents to move on. The therapist supported the parents in retelling of the story, validating their courage and ability to support each other with their fear and guilt. The parents also reported that Tina was sexually molested when she was 8 by an extended family member. Both parents were unclear about the details of what had happened, but formal charges were filed at the time. In their words, Tina changed after this. She became distant from her father because she hated all men. After this, Tina at age 12 was hospitalized for the treatment of a serious eating disorder. Okay, hello everyone. I will be your therapist today, conducting emotionally focused family therapy. My name is Renee. How is everyone doing today?
Feeling alright. We're doing good. Fine.
That's great to hear. I just want to run some things by you all before we begin. So whatever is mentioned and spoken in this session will be kept confidential. And I am the only person who will be able to access the files where I record our sessions, which means my colleagues or anyone else will not know about anything that we talked about in this room. But the only exception is that in the case I find that somebody is in danger, I will have to break confidentiality and contact my supervisor and the authorities. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, it's clear. Yes, we understand.
So if you don't mind, could you please all tell me why you're here today?
Well, our daughter Tina was rushed to the emergency room and it was a suicide attempt. She overdosed on drugs. We want her to be able to talk with us, especially about that night, but she refuses to talk about it. We're just concerned for her. After that night, she didn't want to take any treatments. Okay, I just want to move on from that night. Is that so hard?
Okay, so is that all? What I'm hearing is that Tina attempted suicide, but you want to use this incident to resolve all the issues that are up in the air, correct?
Well, there is more to it. Our daughter was sexually molested when she was 8 by an extended family member. Ever since then, she's become distant from her father. My husband and I, we were not on the same page on this incident because my husband supported my family members instead of believing in Tina. Mike and I would fight about this, but we eventually came around. Following that, she was hospitalized for a treatment due to a serious eating disorder, and in all honesty, we just want to be happy. We just want to be a happy family again. I was previously receiving individual counseling, and my therapist referred me to my to family therapy, and that's why we're here.
Okay, I see. In our individual sessions, Deb, you told me that you're the messenger and the person in the middle, to put it that way, between Tina and Mike. Is that correct?
That's right. More often than not, I'm trying to get both of them to be on the same page.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but let me just say that you trying to get everyone on the same page is not the issue, because you're in the middle of both your husband and your daughter. Um, it's the only thing that you can do based on your physical position between Mike and Tina, which is trying to get everyone to agree on the same thing so that no more fights ensue. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yes, I do. I just don't want Tina to think that we're horrible parents here. All I want is for her to see that we are really, really trying our best to be there for her. Even though I regret the actions that I took in the past, I am still Tina's father. But I feel like she knows that we are there for her. However, the way I see it is that we have a relationship that we understand, and even though I don't like it, I have established a relationship with Tina without speaking, so there's no verbal communication whatsoever.
So, what I'm hearing from you, Mike, is that you want Tina to know that her parents are here for her, which this means that you have parental intentions to care for Tina. And families are meant to be there for each other, and you want to show Tina that you're always there for her when she wants to talk or she needs anything. So, do you feel that, Tina, that your parents are vocalizing to you that they are there for you?
I just find this family word is pretty well non existent.
Okay. Well, in order to understand that, I'm going to ask everyone that you tell me how the interaction goes on in your family. And Deb, earlier we mentioned that you being in the middle of Mike and Tina. So could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, like I mentioned before, after the incident, Tina grew away from her father. She just became very distant. They barely speak to each other because Tina would leave the room if Mike came near her. Tina would not look at her dad and will only speak to me regarding her concerns. So here I am, being the mediator and the translator for both of them. And if Michael wanted to say something to our daughter, he would tell me to pass along the message. Even if I was keeping him informed about what Tina is doing, there were times that he would turn away because he did not want to hear about our daughter and what she's doing. Honestly, just being in the middle is making me wary, and I'm growing tired of this while trying to help Tina with her problems and making sure Mike is present.
Okay, I hear you. And what about you, Mike? Is there anything you would like to say or add to Deb's comments?
Yes, I have something to say, Deborah. You're being too overprotective of Tina. You say you want Tina to work on her problems by herself, but you're not even giving the room for her to do it. And you, stuck in the middle between me and Tina, is your doing. You have this need to interfere with me and Tina.
So is that how you feel, Mike? You feel that Deb is saying that she's the one suffering here, but you're also here trying your best to interact with Tina and mend the relationship?
Yes, that's correct.
I'm curious, do you think they have a game plan? They're talking together about how to approach you, and you are saying if you have something to say, then say it? Because if they can't say it directly, then what does that say to you?
Yeah, I don't want to deal with all that drama. If you have something to say to me, say it to me so we can just move on.
Yeah, well, it's like you were saying, I don't want the drama because when there's drama about me, I don't know, there might be something wrong with me, and it might kind of feel like it's about you. Is that how you feel?
Mhm.
Or it might feel like, can my parents not talk to me, or is there something wrong with me?
I am sometimes told that I have major issues and that I need to grow up. I hear sometimes some pretty mean things, but I don't say anything.
That's right, but you're also saying that impacts you to hear those things from them.
Yes, but at the same time, because I'm growing up and because of the field I'm going into, I don't let it bug me. I don't react anymore the way I used to.
Well, sure, you have a way to cope, and yes, you move on, but underneath all of that is this hurt, and to hear some mean things about you, of course you need to move on.
Well, when I hear these mean things being said about me, I don't get mad or get upset.
Yeah, well, it's like you don't get mad anymore because you don't want to have the big drama, and you don't want to get mad, but usually when we get mad, there is hurt underneath, but now you just don't say anything at all. Okay, so right now we all saw how everyone feels about each other, and I'm going to just reiterate what everyone said so we can all remind each other about what was just said and how everyone's feeling when there's interactions between everyone. So we can see that Deb is feeling tired of being the mediator and translator for Mike and Tina, and she doesn't enjoy this. Um, she wants Mike to speak to his daughter on his own accord. and for Tina to work on her problems while trying to renew her relationship with her father. And Mike feels that Deb is painting him as unavailable, and Mike feels that this is not true because he feels that Deb is overprotective of Tina and interferes when he tries to speak with his daughter. So at the same time, Tina feels that her parents are walking on eggshells around her and she doesn't like this. And she feels that her parents are uh, methodically taking turns talking to her while beating around the bush, kind of coddling her. So all Tina wants is for her parents to be direct with her. And even if you, Tina, hear some negative comments, you try not to let it bother you because you don't want a big fight or drama to happen. But what I'm hearing is that you're hurt by it and you bury it. Does everyone understand?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to focus on Deb and how she feels about this emotionally.
Yeah, like the relationships are just broken. Mike doesn't talk to Tina. Tina and Josh don't talk. And I don't know how it all happened. We weren't that kind of family. We were always together.
So that makes so much sense then. It is so much better to focus on trying to fix things in the family between your husband and daughter than to feel this kind of loss. This loss of togetherness that you guys once had.
Yeah, I'd rather try to work on repairing the relationship between Mike and Tina instead of just sitting there and thinking about how close and connected we once were as a family.
I can understand that, Deb, and I'm sorry that you feel that way. Okay, so now, Mike, in our individual session prior, we found that you withdraw from tough situations when you feel unhappy or threatened. And when you get frustrated with Deb or your kids, you attempt to fix the problems by avoiding feelings of guilt and shame. So now, is that a relational block that stands in between you and your daughter? I think we should explore that more.
Yeah,
So, how do you feel about your approach to situations like this, Mike?
I think every morning about my kids and how to fix it. It's with me every moment of the day.
The horrible feeling is not having a talking relationship, the loss of daddy's girl, and you can't talk to her because you have this horrible feeling that stands in the way.
Yeah, that is the worst of it, though we don't talk.
Yeah, and then this happened, and it hasn't happened out of nowhere. And I'm wondering if you are also wondering what it's like to be on Tina's side.
I think about it all the time.
Yeah, but because of the cycle you guys are caught in, you don't talk, you don't tell her when you think about her all the time, and that you miss your relationship with her, correct? And you try to fix it and make it better because maybe if you could do that, what would you do?
She would be happier.
And if she was happier, what would happen to that horrible feeling? Maybe you would feel better as a dad as well.
I am here for her, and I want to be there for her.
Yeah, that moves you, how much you want to be there for her. Can you tell her now how that feels?
Tina, you know that I think about you. I try to be there for you. You know that, Tina.
I can see, Tina, this is hard to talk directly. I just asked you to do something that you haven't done in years, and I'm sure there are very good reasons for why this happened, and I think that's why we're here. We need to figure this out together. And I also see all of the pain that you are in, and of course you would be. And Mom, you feel this loss of your family and how it was, and Dad, you have this horrible feeling and loss of a talking relationship with your daughter. And for you, Tina, talking is hard because there is drama, and you hear mean things about you, so of course you would want to stay away from that. That makes sense.